Last series, the issue was poor hitting with runners in scoring position. Well, tonight, how about not one opportunity to even hit with a runner in scoring position? Just 2 hits, 2 solo home runs, but absolutely nothing else in a really embarrassing loss for the Angels tonight. We'll break it all down on tonight's edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast right now.
You are Locked On Angels Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Los Angeles, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, Halo Nation. Hello, Halo hopefuls, and hello, Postcast people, and welcome to the latest edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast, coming at you live, as always, on the Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel and after the fact, wherever you get the Locked On Angels podcast feed. If you don't know who I am, my name is Gavin Carlson. I spent 4 years as a credentialed journalist in the LA area, specifically covering UCLA sports with the Daily Bruin, and I am now, of course, a part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Our team is the Los Angeles Angels, and boy, oh boy, is it painful. The issue last series was this team can't hit with the runners in scoring position. A bunch of 1 for 10s, 1 for 12s, 1 for 14, stuff like that with runners in scoring position last series. Well, how about tonight? Not a single time is there even an opportunity to hit with the runner in scoring position. Just 2 hits all game, and they're both solo home runs that honestly make the score look a lot closer than this game was. The Angels offense, outside of 2 solo home runs, did absolutely, positively nothing. Literally no other hits, literally only 1 other base runner via 1 walk. This team had less base runners than the Blue Jays had runs. Really embarrassing series opener in a very disappointing loss to the Blue Jays. And, oh yeah, Logan O'Hoppe gets injured as well halfway through. We'll talk about that. The pitching wasn't bad. Davis Daniel could have been better. He could have been worse, though. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how this team pitches because we know there is not going to be enough hitting to support any sort of pitching performance. Shout out to everybody in here. Really appreciate it, as always, sticking with me, even though this team continues to stick with bad offensive performances. So really appreciate everybody in here. Fudd Alex, Angels win, Anthony Jimenez, Jeff, just to name a few. Also, a quick plug for myself and a quick shout out to anyone who was there yesterday. Not only did we do an Angels postcast early in the morning for that early 8:35 first pitch, but not very late, but later in the day, around 5 p.m., the first ever Locked On Rams postcast. So if there's any Angels and Rams fans, you get double the Gavin on a Sunday. If you're not a Rams fan, if you're a football fan, or if you're just someone who wants to listen to me speak. I don't know why you would want to do that, but some of you seem to like it. So the Locked On Rams postcast will be a thing every single Rams game. We'll also be doing the UCLA postcast after UCLA football games and a lot more coming. So shout out to anyone who was there. Please check it out if you haven't seen it already. Appreciate a lot of the support we got on that one and all the support we always get every single game here for these Locked On Angels postcasts. Brutal game. We'll get into all of it. We'll talk about Davis Daniel in depth. He was okay. 5 innings, 8 hits, 4 earned runs, 2 walks, 5 Ks, a home run. Just about the average Davis Daniel game you'd expect, honestly. The bullpen was pretty darn good. No earned runs from any of them. We'll talk about that as well. We will give Joe Adell his credit for a solo home run in the 9th, for a great home run robbery catch in the 8th. We'll give Mickey Moniak his credit as well for the solo home run. But we have to start ripping into this lineup, quite frankly, because boy, is it getting embarrassing. Before we jump in, a quick shout out to the sponsor of today's show. It is Supply House. SupplyHouse.com is the reliable way to get parts fast. Shop for your next plumbing, HVAC, or electrical job and get fast shipping from coast to coast at SupplyHouse.com. And we start with this lineup. And let's start with a little story from me, okay? By now, if you're here listening to these postcasts, as much as I don't believe it, as much as I need people to tell me it for me to actually think it's true, some of you are actually here because you enjoy me, which is kind of crazy, but I appreciate it. And some of you like when I tell stories, when I talk about my life and my experience watching this team and how it compares to yours. So I'm going to tell you about tonight. Tonight, I've mentioned it a couple postcasts ago, I'm currently training to run a half marathon. I am not really a runner. I go to the gym every day. I'm a weightlifter. I try to put on muscle. I'm actually kind of broad-shouldered and wide-legged and kind of short and stout is what I like to describe myself as. Trained to run a half marathon. Where am I getting this with this? Well, I decided, you know what? I'm going to run, with my program, it tells me when I'm supposed to go on runs and how long they're supposed to be and the proper way to train. Today, according to the program, run 8 miles. I've never run 8 miles in my life, okay? Never run 8 miles in my life. It takes about, they want you to run at a 10-minute per mile pace, something around that. They don't want you to push yourself at all. Where am I going with this? I was like, you know what? I'm going to run my 8 miles while I listen to the beginning of the Angels game. While I watch and listen. I'm going to have it on my phone. I'm going to be kind of watching as I'm running because I want something that will distract me. Because running, whether you like it or not, it's painful, okay? It's not the most fun. And so I'm thinking, okay, you know what will cheer me up? You know what will keep me distracted and not thinking about how much my knees are hurting? Not thinking about how much my, thighs and ankles and feet or anything are hurting. How about watching the Angels hopefully have a nice performance against the Blue Jays? As you can imagine, that was one of the worst decisions I've ever made in my life. Because, boy, talk about distracting myself. I mean, I guess it did distract me for the run a little bit, but not because of joy, not because of butterflies and sunshine and happiness, because of absolute anger, infuriation, just disappointment, not even surprise, but at the same time surprise, questioning why I'm even an Angels fan, questioning why I even put myself through watching Angels games every night other than to do this show, questioning why all of you amazing people watch the Angels every night and then want to listen to more about the Angels on these podcasts. I was going through it mentally. And sure, it distracted me from the run. I wasn't even thinking about the pain anywhere in the lower half because all the pain was up here. Up here with my eyes watching that team, up with my brain, my heart wondering why I love this team, why I put myself through this, why any of you put yourself through this. Tonight was ridiculous. It really was. And how many times have I talked about when this lineup is getting slowed down, they are getting stopped, halted, shut down, silenced, absolutely nothing. There are plenty of teams with bad lineups that do not have 11 hits a game, that average 7 or 8 hits a game. But how many times can you tell after a couple innings, this guy, whoever the starting pitcher is not going to do well against this team. He's going to shut this lineup down. And boy, is this score misleading. This team did not score 2 runs tonight. I don't care if they did. You hit 2 solo home runs. You didn't have a hit otherwise. One of the home runs wasn't even against the starter. So against the starting pitcher, Francis, who is a relatively new guy, okay? He's had 6 starts in his career all this year. Before that, he was a bullpen guy and an average one at that. He's been an average starter this year, okay? They're trying to stretch him out. They're trying to turn him into a starter. If you look, the month of April, never pitched more than 5 1/3 innings. The month of June, didn't pitch more than 4 innings. In July, he had 1 start of 5 2/3. Other than that, 2 innings, 1 inning, and 2 innings. But today, he doesn't throw 3. He doesn't throw 4. He doesn't throw 5. He doesn't throw 6. He throws 7 innings, and he gives up 1 hit. 1 hit. It was a Mickey Moniak solo shot. And Mickey Moniak, every once in a while, will give you that. But how in the world do you have 1 hit and no walks until he didn't even have a walk until the bullpen? You had 1 base runner against this guy, and you very easily could have had 1 hit and 1 base runner the whole game if they didn't take him out. He only had 81 pitches through 7 innings because, like I said, like I always say, this is a momentum team to the nth degree. And when there is a lack of momentum, there is absolutely nothing on this team. Nothing. No sign of, and I criticize Ron Washington a little bit for this because there's been this promise of small ball, of getting creative, of sack bunts, of stealing bases. Obviously, when you have not a single guy get on base other than a walk, there's not really an opportunity to steal bases. When there's a bunch of old, slow guys in your lineup, there's not opportunities to do drag bunts, pull things out of nowhere. I get it. But man, you got to think of something. Or you got to say something, you got to yell at somebody. There's no way that against a guy who has never pitched into the 6th inning in his life, he pitches 7 innings, giving up 1 hit. It's unfathomable. It's unbelievable. So, boy, did I make the worst decision of my life thinking that watching an Angels game was going to distract me in a good way, in a happy way. I guess I made the right decision in that it distracted me from my run, only because it made me even more angry, even more furious. It had me questioning the meaning of life, questioning why I'm an Angels fan. Embarrassing. And in a night where I don't know what Blake Snell's doing right now, I know earlier in the day he was throwing a no-hitter, it made me think, how in the world have the Angels not been no-hit this year? How in the world have they not been? Because there's not a lineup on planet Earth that completely rolls over when they get shut down like the Los Angeles Angels. Completely rolled over. There's not a roll over stat, but if there was, we would lead it. Boy, we would lead it. When this team gets slowed down, they get shut down. They get halted. And there's just no life. No life. I'm saying the same things over and over again because what else is there to say? I would love to talk about a game or an inning where there was a runner on second base and they didn't get the job done. I would love to talk about a questionable decision to steal second and get thrown out, or to not get a sack bunt down with the runner on first, or to not have a successful sack fly or ground ball with the runner on third and 1 out, or the bases loaded with 2 out. There's nothing. There's 2 home runs and literally no other hits and 1 walk. Everybody should be embarrassed. Joe Adell shouldn't be embarrassed. He had a home run and a good home run robbery. Logan O'Hoppe shouldn't be embarrassed. We're just concerned. We'll get to that. Mickey Moniak, good enough. You hit a home run. But boy, other than that, how ridiculous. How ridiculous. Seeing funny comments about people and the reason for being an Angels fan. Maybe we'll jump into that at the end. Give me a reason why you are an Angels fan, and hopefully it's a good reason, something that'll make you stick with it despite an abysmal team. Because, man, this team has the ups and downs of more than any other team. And on a night where the Chicago White Sox put up 12 runs against the Yankees, you put up 2 hits, 3 base runners against a guy who's never pitched into the 6th inning. It's just bad. It's just real bad. We're going to take our first break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast, and when I come back, we'll talk about the pitching staff. All right, we'll talk about some positivity. And even then, I mean, Davis Daniel wasn't lights out, but the bullpen was, and he was okay. We'll talk about the pitching. We'll talk about whatever you would like in the third segment, honestly, because man, oh man. But we'll do it all after our first break here on the Locked On Angels Postcast. Now, once again, today's show is brought to you by Supply House. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, supplyhouse.com. Supplyhouse.com is the reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands and get your order delivered right to your door with fast shipping from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Get expert support and industry-leading service from the friendliest folks in the business and talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge by joining SupplyHouse.com's free TradeMaster program. Every TradeMaster gets access to a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. So join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at SupplyHouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at SupplyHouse.com, as there is a huge, loud car driving by my window. SupplyHouse.com. Back here live on Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast. I'm going to quickly take a sip of my Gatorade because I am really dehydrated. I did just get back from a run. Give me a second. And yes, crucify me. It is blue on a night where we play the Blue Jays, but honestly, tonight I don't feel guilty at all because I really wish I was a Blue Jays fan and not an Angels fan tonight. It was absolutely brutal. How about that hilarious comment from Angels win? You should stay hydrated while running, Gavin. Make sure to get some liquid IV. I did have some liquid IV before my run because it's important to get those electrolytes in right away when you go on the run. So while you're losing them, you have extra electrolytes in your system. So don't worry, Angels win. I did that. You're hilarious. Glad Anthony Jimenez is laughing because we need some positivity after a night like tonight. Angels lose 4-2. The score is way closer than the game actually was. You're out hit 9-2. You only had 3 base runners, 2 solo shots, and 1 walk. Meanwhile, the Blue Jays not only had 9 hits, but 5 more walks. So they had 14 base runners. They left 9 on base, and they looked like the Angels in last series, 2 for 12 with runners in scoring position for the Angels, or for the Blue Jays, excuse me. I wish for the Angels, for the Blue Jays. They left a whole lot of runners on base, a whole lot of runners in scoring position. The only reason that this game was even remotely close. Part of that was because of some resilience from the Angels pitching staff. Davis Daniel, not amazing at all, but not terrible either. 5 innings pitched, 8 hits, 4 runs, all earned. He had 2 walks. He had 5 strikeouts. He gave up 1 home run. The ERA is 6.23. It is not great. He's had a couple blow-up starts. This will be a loss, but I'm not going to judge a single Angels starting pitcher, any relievers, honestly, for that matter, by their wins and losses. Tyler Anderson has a losing record, and he's been sub-3 ERA like the whole year. Okay? So the ERA is a load of crud. Or not the ERA, the wins and losses, the record for Angel starting pitchers is a load of crud, okay? It means absolutely nothing. Wins, losses is already a kind of overrated stat, and really the only people that rate it highly at this point are people who are still living in the 1920s. Everyone understands at this point it's about ERA, it's about whip, it's about how well you're doing against the other lineup, not how well your team is doing while you're pitching, okay? So Davis Daniel, I'm not going to judge him by his 1-4 record, but the 6.23 ERA, it's not great. He's not great. He's not supposed to be great, okay? And at the end of the day, this pitching staff, once again, gives up less than 5 runs. How many times do you need me to say it? You probably don't need me to say it because you know it. We all know it. Even the Angels know it. They just can't overcome it. This staff consistently holds other teams to less than 5 runs. If the Angels can score 5 runs, boy, they're going to win. They're going to win. And they just can't do it. And whenever we do score 5, we score 9. We score 8. But we never score 5. It's always 1 or 2 or 8. And tonight was certainly one of those 2s. It should have been a 0. We did nothing. Okay, but Davis Daniel, he was okay. He did. We know what Davis Daniel is at this point, guys. We know what he is. And I know he's only, a couple starts into his career. He's not a guy with electric stuff. He's a guy who throws strikes, who is a good pitcher. He's not a thrower. He's an okay pitcher, meaning decent pitch sequences, understands if he throws the first pitch of the at-bat here, this is where the second one needs to go. And he does have good control for the most part. So he's able to, for the most part, put balls where he wants them, put pitches where he wants them, be strategic. But the problem is when he misses, he doesn't have electric stuff. Jose Soriano can miss down the middle. Ben Joyce can miss down the middle. Why? Because they throw 98. Because they throw sinkers. Because they also have nasty other secondary pitches you got to think about. Davis Daniel, he does not. And how many times has Davis Daniel missed with the fastball down the middle? A lot. He throws a 91-mile-an-hour fastball that goes straight. It's probably the meatballiest pitch in Major League Baseball. A 91-mile-an-hour fastball that goes right down the middle, or goes straight, excuse me. If you miss it right down the middle, you're toast. Leo Jimenez hits his first career home run. And what was it on? A 91-mile-an-hour fastball, 0-2. This is one of those cases where, Davis Daniel, you're a great pitch sequencer. How in the world are on 0-2 you throwing a fastball right down the middle? Ridiculous. Jimenez hits it for a home run. Spencer Horwitz had a double on a fastball. It was outside, but still the fastball continued to get scorched. Just the fastball, it's just not good. You throw a 91-mile-an-hour fastball straight. What do you expect, right? What do you expect? And it was only a couple innings, or excuse me, not a couple. It was only 1 inning where Davis Daniel gave up all of his runs. In the 3rd inning, we'll break it down real quick for you. We already brought up the Spencer Horwitz double, but the inning started after a strikeout with a Vlad Jr. double on a not terrible pitch, a changeup down and in, but he's somehow able to rip it because Vlad Jr., when he's hot, is a really good hitter. Spencer Horwitz had the double. You get Alejandro Kirk striking out, but then 2 outs, runner on second, and Will Wagner. What's with the Blue Jays and having this obsession with former MLB players' kids? Okay, Vladdy Jr., Bo Bichette, Dante Bichette's son, and now Billy Wagner's son, Will Wagner, who I think they said was making his MLB debut tonight. And boy, did he have a great game. He rips an RBI single to score Spencer Horwitz. It's 2-0. And then that Leo Jimenez home run we brought up made it 4-0. So a lot of fastballs in that inning that were crushed, that were missed. And other than that, he was pretty darn good. Other than this inning where he gives up a home run, a single, and 2 doubles, that's 4 hits right there. The rest of the game, what did he do? He gives up just 4 more hits in the other 4 innings. A hit an inning for Davis Daniel is fine, right? It's fine. So that 1 inning hurt. But other than that, he was okay. And once again, I'll keep saying it. Imagine the amount of pressure these pitchers feel every time they go out on the mound, knowing this lineup is going to give you no help. And especially if you don't see a run in the first or second inning, you know it's one of those nights where they're not only not going to give you a ton of help, they're going to give you little to no help. You can usually tell after the second inning, all right, the Angels already either have 8 runs in them or 2. And when you don't score in the first couple, all right, they probably got 2, if that. Most of the time, it's 0 until the 8th inning when the bullpen comes in. Tonight, it was 1, thanks to the only hit of the game until the 9th inning, being a Mickey Moniak home run. So imagine the pressure Davis Daniel and any starter feels every time they go out on the mound and know that they're getting no help. Hans Kraus able to have a decent outing after what has been a rough stretch for him. 1 2/3 innings, not easy. 2 walks and a hit, but he's able to, escape all of it with no runs allowed. He did have a big strikeout. Matt Moore, shaky, had a walk. Made things interesting, but he had a strikeout as well, an inning and a third for him. And then Mike Baumann, who ends up saying that he has no hits, no runs, and a strikeout, he gave up a home run that was robbed by Joe Adell. If you didn't watch it, Joe Adell made a heck of a catch in the top of the 9th inning. And what is still at this point a close game, somehow, some way, it's still a close game at this point. It's still 4-1. And this is a big play. Joe Adell robs a home run to lead off the 9th very easily. Could have been a home run. It was hit 373 feet. Not a deep fly ball or anything, but it would have been out. It was past the yellow line. Joe Adell leaps up, robs the home run. A fantastic play. Joe Adell has turned into, I got to say it, as someone who's been really critical and said Joe Adell was a D- hitter, a C base runner, a C to C- fielder. He is a B to B plus fielder now. Ron Washington saying crazy things like he's a gold glove right fielder. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But Joe Adell might be a B plus right fielder. He's still probably a C hitter, and C only because he hits a lot of home runs. The average is still abysmal. He still strikes out way too much. Base running has been whatever. He's athletic, but he doesn't really do much with it. But he's an above average fielder at this point, and he shows it here with a great home run robbery to keep it at 4-1. And then he makes that play even more important when he then leads off the bottom of the 9th with a solo shot. And just like that, it's a 2-run game. Just like that, the Angels just need 1 base runner to bring the tying run to the plate and make things really interesting. But take one guess what they did from there. Didn't get a base runner. 1, 2, 3, Shanuel, Nettle, Matt Thaiss, ball, game over. At the end of the day, I was talking about the pitching. Davis Daniel was really just 1 bad inning. The bullpen was pretty darn good. Journeys for a couple of the bullpen arms, but they did good enough. All right, we're going to take our last break. When we come back, we'll get to your comments. We'll also talk about Logan O'Hoppe because let's not act like that's not a big deal. Logan O'Hoppe left this game early. We'll talk about that. We'll read your comments, and we'll wrap this one up on tonight's edition of the Locked On Angels Postcast. We'll be right back. Now, today's show is brought to you by Ibotta. I-B-O-T-T-A, Ibotta. And, Ibotta is really, really cool. Are you taking that dream vacation this summer but dreading the cost? With Ibotta, you get cash back on all of your purchases so you can spend more time making memories this summer and less time dreaming about them. It's summertime, which means not only vacations, but barbecue season. You can stock up on all of your grilling favorites and earn cash back on every purchase when you use Ibotta. So you won't have to choose between burgers or hot dogs. You can get both. Ibotta is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop. You can earn on hundreds of items from groceries to beauty supplies, even toys. So you can make sure, and here's a key point, make sure you're beating inflation no matter what you're purchasing. The average Ibotta user earns $256 per year. That could cover the cost of an entire shopping trip, that flight you've been eyeing, or the fancy dinner you've been craving. Right now, Ibotta is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibotta by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. Just go to the App Store or Google Play Store and download the free Ibotta app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Ibotta, I-B-O-T-T-A, in the Google Play or App Store, and use code LOCKEDONMLB. And today's show is finally brought to you by FanDuel. And man, I might not love the Angels all the time, and I might not love running, and might need to try to use the Angels to distract me from it and it not work out so well. But I'll tell you one thing I love all the time. In general, I love sports. I love them so much, I never want them to stop. But as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer games. The sports aren't sporting like I want them to. But luckily, FanDuel lets me keep the sports going whenever I want. All I have to do is open up the app and dream up bets anytime I'm in the mood. No more NBA, long gone. No more NHL, long gone. Soccer, the Euro League, Copa America, that's all gone. The Olympics are now over. But luckily, thank goodness, the NFL, our Lord and Savior, is back. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a booster or bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Not only can you, bet on baseball games, not only can you bet on the WNBA when it comes back after this Olympic break, but boy, NFL betting, it's one of the biggest things in all of sports betting, probably the biggest thing. So head over to FanDuel.com and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, official sports betting partner of what? Of Major League Baseball. Back here live one more time on Locked On Sports Los Angeles YouTube channel. This is the Locked On Angels Postcast. I'm Gavin Carlson. I am a grateful Gavin Carlson, and not because of the Angels. They don't give you much to be grateful for. I'm grateful for you guys. We've had a really great crowd in here just about every show lately. Really appreciate the support. We're making this more and more the growing community in the Angels fan community, the place to be after the game, when the game ends, not sometimes, not when it's convenient, not when it's a night game, not when it's, a Friday night after a win, every single game. Not only on nights where other teams aren't playing. I did a Rams postcast the same day I did an Angels postcast, all right? I'm going to be here as long as I am able, as long as I am breathing, as long as I am in front of my computer, as long as I am alive, I will be doing the Locked On Angels postcast for you guys. And I know you appreciate it. That's why I do it. I don't do it because this team is good. I don't do it because I enjoy talking about 2 hits and a walk, okay? I do it for you guys. So I appreciate it. You guys make it really fun to do it because there's more and more of you guys in here every time. There's more and more comments every time, and I appreciate it so, so much. Let's talk about, what do we even talk about? I think we talked about, Logan O'Hoppe. That's what we have to talk about. The brain fog's there a little bit after that run. I'm not going to lie. I've never run 8 miles in my life until today, and boy, it ain't easy. The knee is throbbing. We're about to do a lot of stretching after this. Logan O'Hoppe leaves this game early. Right knee soreness is what they're calling it. If you didn't see the play, he was running down the first baseline. He planted on first base, and he grimaced. Then he started limping. He started limping as much as me about 7 miles into my run, which that's a pretty big limp, and it's concerning. I think for any, athlete in general, the knee is one of the top concerns. But a catcher who is squatting 24/7, a guy like Logan O'Hoppe, who had a caught stealing, threw a guy out, stealing second base from his knees tonight. There's no more important body part other than the arm for a catcher, for a Logan O'Hoppe, than his knees. So the Angels should be extremely cautious with this one. I think they said it was day-to-day, the early, ruling. I don't care. Give him tomorrow off. Give him the day after. I sound like I had a Boston accent there. Give him the day after off as well. Take your time. No need to fool around with this one. Future of the franchise. Really important body part. I don't care if it's just soreness. Wait till it's absolutely positively not even close to being even remotely a little bit, tiny bit, even 1% bit sore. All right. Don't mess around with it at all. Give him the time off. Let him ice it. Maybe after a day or two off, then maybe let him DH. But I don't want to see him squatting for a couple of days. That's just me. With all that being said, we covered everything. Let's jump into these comments real quick and let you enjoy the rest of your Monday night. Jeff, the rare time Jeff is positive, he says, hello, everyone. At least we didn't get shut out. I mean, I guess you're right. I'll tell you what was not positive today. Skyler, a comment so long and so angry, it takes up the whole half of the screen. You can't even see below my nose. And he had 3 comments like this. We'll read them all because that's what we do. I normally don't show up this early, but I'm going to vent. This team should be embarrassed. Easily the worst loss of the season. How could we get beat by a guy who literally just got called up? True for the most part, other than the loss of the season. I think we've had worse losses. Those A's losses, right when we thought this team was making a playoff push, pretty bad, okay? Blowing late leads in the last series a couple times, up there for pretty bad losses. We had a loss to the Mariners that was like 10-0 or something, so there's been worse, but certainly a frustrating one. He says, forget about the lack of offense we had all year. We have no heart, no fight, no grit. That's like, have you seen that meme, that video? There was no passion, there was no aggression, there's no mindset. Love that. Hilarious. It's a Chelsea fan, so I love it even more. But yeah, no fight, no heart, no grit. Absolutely. It's ironic there's an earthquake in Cali because we played scared tonight. That's hilarious. I'll give you one more story tonight because why not? There's not much Angels baseball to talk about. I had a job interview today. I was at a facility that I don't even know if I'm allowed to mention it. Let's just say it is a brand new, amazing, state-of-the-art building. I'll leave it at that. Maybe you can connect the dots in LA. I was in the building, and I was in the middle of a group interview with a bunch of other people applying for this job, and the building starts shaking. And some very expensive pieces hanging from walls and hanging from the ceiling start shaking. And I went, uh-oh. I've lived in California my whole life, and I've never experienced a real earthquake like that. And it's because I was in a city nearby. I don't want to give away where I was just because I don't know if I'm allowed to say. But I was there, and it was close to Pasadena, and Pasadena was the epicenter, and boy, was it shaking. So as someone who's lived in California my whole life, who has certainly, experienced many earthquakes, most of the time I'm always asleep whenever they happen, I had no idea that that's how it felt like. So it was pretty interesting to experience that. I don't know if anyone else felt it. Certainly it sounds like the Angels felt it. That's Skylar's theory, at least. Pretty hilarious. He also adds, when we did nothing at the deadline, I knew our season was over. I want to be positive. I want to have faith in my Halos. But after tonight, I'm embarrassed to be an Angels fan right now. Man, talk about it, Skylar. I mean, that's how I was feeling on that run. Jeff says he agrees. He says, when the going gets tough, the Angels fold under pressure. Will Wagner gave us what we deserved. Yeah, why was Will Wagner so darn good tonight? And like I said, what's up with the Blue Jays and having this obsession with former MLB players and their kids? It's usually working out, though. Vladdy Guerrero, great. Bo Bichette, great. And apparently Will Wagner was pretty darn good as well. They had one more, too, right? Kevin Biggio, I think, right? Yeah. Just about every famous MLB player's son is on the Blue Jays. Angels win says, pathetic game, and now Hoppy is injured. Yep. Anthony Jimenez says, hey. And I'm Angel says, hello all. No issue missing the game. More of the same. More importantly, I didn't miss this postcast. Hi, Gavin. I appreciate that. At this point, if the only Angels content you consume is the Angels postcast and not the Angels game itself, I will take it. Mo, Gavin, he adds. Think that means he's referring to the Rams postcast as well. Yes, more of me. And yes, Angels win. Gavin, that is me, and I am staying busy. So appreciate the support. Angels win. It says, I blame my dad for raising me an Angels fan. Angels win. Anaheim Angels says, my dad started me out as a Dodger fan. Oh, man, so you made the switch. You did make the right switch, though. Some jokes about the Liquid IV. We already talked about those. Those were pretty funny. Angels win. Saying something that I've heard a lot of lately. Angels should trade for Vladdy Jr. Doubt it happens, but would love Vladdy Jr. as an Angel. That would be fun. Certainly would rather see him at third base or DH than what we've been seeing at third base or DH. And we'll leave with this. I cannot believe that stat about Anthony Rendon and the Nationals. I know at this time the stat is old, but like they said, since Anthony Rendon has left, the Nats thought that this was some stat giving Anthony Rendon credit by saying since Anthony Rendon left the Nats, they've had 19 different people start at third base. They thought that was a stat giving Anthony Rendon credit, saying, "Wow, look at how long, look at the consistency for the Nats. Look at all we've had to deal with since he's left." And then the Angels respond with, "Oh yeah, well we've had over 25 starting third basemen since he has joined the Angels." The most starting third baseman in all of Major League Baseball. How embarrassing and ridiculous is that? And what a fitting way to end this postcast, talking about the ridiculousness of Anthony Rendon on a night where the Angels are ridiculous, only scoring 2 runs. That's not even the ridiculous part. Only 2 hits. They're real lucky that they were solo home runs, because this could very easily be a no-run, 2-hit, 1-walk performance. It ends up being a 4-2 loss, a game way closer score-wise than it actually should have been. At the end of the day, it is a loss. The Angels are now back to 15 games under 500 against a Blue Jays team that came into this one 10 games under 500. They're last in their division. They're not great. So a disappointing loss for sure. But with all that being said, we'll wrap this one up. We'll be back here tomorrow. Same time tomorrow. Same 6:38 first pitch, something like that. So hopefully, please, Angels, let's have a win. Let's have something real positive to talk about. I won't be going on a run tomorrow. We're giving the legs a break. So if I seemed a little tired, that's why. I'll be a little bit more energetic tomorrow, but I think you all appreciated it regardless. For Alex, I won't say anything other than you are correct with that comment. I'll leave it at that. All right, shout out to everybody in here. Go Angels, even though you lose 4-2, even though you only have 3 base runners, 2 hits. And at this point, bring me back to last series where at least we had opportunities to score runs and just didn't convert them, because literally not a single runner on second base tonight. How abysmal is that? All right, I'm Gavin Carlson. Angels lose 4-2 to the Blue Jays. Thanks for watching the postcast. Leave a like if you haven't already. Leave a comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And also, if you're bored, if you haven't already, go watch my first ever Locked On Rams postcast. Let's get that one to 1,000 views. That'll be pretty amazing. All right, shout out to all of you. Appreciate you. Have a great Monday night, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. And as always, even after a night like tonight, go Angels. Take care, everybody.